Better late than never, never late is better. Praying all the time, wishing time would fly back. Felt like it was taking all day. Can't deny it was worth the wait. Better late than never, never late is better. Praying all the time, wishing time would fly back. Felt like it was taking all day. Can't deny it was worth the wait.
Well, for those who don't know who I am or who my special guest for today is, once again, my name is JimDre Westbrook, Worth the Wait Guy, aka the 30-year-old virgin, and today is episode 2 of the Worth the Wait Guy podcast. My special guest today is no other than Mr. Robert Oden. Mr. Robert Oden is from the D. For those who don't know who the D is, it's Detroit, Michigan. He's an educator. He's an entrepreneur. He's also a member of the biz. And he's my former college roommate. So for those who don't know, once again, here is Robert Oden, a.k.a. as we like to call him, Black Rob. What's good, baby?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Cool.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a pleasure, man. I'm really, really glad that we're able to sit down, chop it up real quick, and give the people a little insight on what you do back home in Michigan and how you're making a difference in not just your life, but a lot of people around you. So, yeah, let's jump right into it. So I have a couple questions, and I'd like to hear what you have to say. And I think that our viewers for the podcast would genuinely listen and respect your views on a lot of the topics that we'll talk about today.
Okay.
So the first one, man, in terms of being an educator and an entrepreneur, how do you think that affects you and gives you a competitive advantage within each career?
I think, as funny as it may sound, I think we're all entrepreneurs at some point in time before we actually get into a career or a college major or whatever. We all grow up maybe having a lemonade stand or selling candy or, I don't know, fixing bikes and making money or whatever. So I think that the entrepreneurial side of me impacts the educator side of me just through those general characteristics that you learn through entrepreneurship, such as leadership, communication skills. But one that's most important to me is my ability to have that ambition. You know what I mean? And so those things really carry over to being an educator because you need ambition, you need leadership skills, you need communication skills in order to, for me, lead the next generation of kids. I have to have those things. So it's kind of cool how being an entrepreneur actually plays over pretty well into being an educator.
Cool. And I agree. Like you said, we've all been young, we've all been a kid, and like you said, if it's doing chores around the house, if it's just helping out shoveling snow. I mean, we're from Michigan, so we both know what that was like, just trying to go to school. Sometimes you had to, help yourself out or maybe even your neighbor and you got a couple bucks. So, yeah, I definitely agree that entrepreneurial spirit is in a lot of us at a young age, and we're kind of able to transition that to corporate America and transition that into, quote unquote real jobs and how we can kind of keep that hustle element alive in almost everything that we do.
Yeah, man, you use the word entrepreneurial spirit and hustle, and those are two words that are really dear to me. Again, those are also two things that you need as an entrepreneur. And again, it carries over well to being an educator because with me leading and working as an educator within urban America or urban districts or whatnot, urban districts tend to get the short end of the stick. So you can imagine what my day-to-day, my week-to-week, my year-to-year is like when leading a black youth or minority youth and really showing them that, the grass can be greener on the other side. You know what I mean? So I need to have that hustle and I need to have that entrepreneurial spirit to make up for all of the things that may be lacking in urban education. For example, I remember at one particular district, I was hired in to start the college and career program. So again, that took a lot of entrepreneurial spirit and hustle to get that going, so that the next person, to come in after me can take off with that. So yeah, it carries over well for real.
Okay, cool. So speaking about hustling and having that entrepreneurial spirit, I would like to know some of your role models or some of the people that you actually look up to when talking about having some hustle to them, having to grind to make what happen. Like, who is your inspiration when it comes to a business, man?
Okay. Well, the cliche answer, but it's true, is my mom, right? That's one person that I really look up to, who has those characteristics that I really want to possess and want to develop. Coming from a single parent home, coming from the east side of Detroit, with a mom who only had a high school education, she had to really push forward in life and show us the right way and raise us up as men. I'm the youngest of 4, so she had to really raise us up, and we all, went off to college, and actually we all went to the University of Michigan, and we're all living pretty good lives now. So I would definitely say my mom is definitely an inspiration to me when it comes to my life in general, my day-to-day, my entrepreneurial side, my educator side, all of that. But then as far as the celebrity figures, I would have to go with a Sean Carter, Jay-Z. Jay-Z is someone, as you know, you've been knowing me since college, that I've talked about way back when people didn't even understand why I was talking about this guy so much. But now I think people see the same things that I see: his work ethic, his ambition, his ability to turn nothing into something. I believe in one of his raps, he said, I turned the rock from a pebble. You know what I mean? So that, that's, and I think that statement pretty much embodies a lot by just saying, he was able to take something and make it nothing. I'm sorry, and make it into something. And so he's definitely someone that inspires me.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, Jay is definitely someone that I looked up to growing up as well. I thought that, in being an entrepreneur and wanting to be a figure in fashion and having my own, since I was 16, Jay-Z has been one of my biggest inspirations. So I know that we definitely share that in common because he's done a lot. And I think he's done more than what people probably give him credit for. He has an empire, if you will. And like you said, he kind of started that with nothing. So it's definitely kind of cool to see Jay mature and not be, Hove as we knew him to be growing up. But like he really is Sean Carter. Like he's on his grown man stuff, and he's doing a lot of things that, I think that we'd like to do in the future. And I still have those opportunities to do so. So yeah, you mentioned college. And for those who don't know, we were college roommates, as I said at the beginning. We met 13 years ago. And it's crazy that it's been that long that we've shared a friendship, man. Like I said, we're basically brothers. I say, you know my people, I know your people. It's family. So let's kind of go back to 2002. Summer Bridge. That's where we met. And, I can remember meeting you the first day. We're moving stuff, TVs, all kind of stuff. And if we could go back then to 2002 right now, what advice would you give Robert Oden, who just came out of Crockett? What would you tell him about being at the University of Michigan or just being in college in general? And what advice would you give him to not only make it and graduate from U of M, but what's there for him after graduation, like real life advice, things that we probably didn't know that we should have known? What would you tell him now if you met him?
Be fearless. Don't be afraid. And what I mean by fearless, I mean in terms of individuality. Don't be afraid to be grained in your individuality. Don't be afraid to live at your own pace. I remember earlier on in undergrad making decisions that I probably didn't want to make, or trying to get into things that I didn't necessarily want to get into, and just not really living at my own pace, thinking that I had to do and live by these societal standards. I remember, at one point in time thinking about joining a particular fraternity because I thought it would do something for me, or you know, I even went as far as being in this like really long-term relationship, even though I knew I wasn't ready, you know, stuff like that. So I would just tell my old self, hey, pump your brakes. It's okay. Be who you are. Live at your own pace, and everything else will fall into place. I have this saying that I go by that I kind of made up. It's act without haste, and life will grant your blessings. So, you know, again, if you just slow down, don't move with haste, everything that you want will come to you in divine order and in right timing. And by the way, I am a member of Phi Beta Sigma, but I wasn't talking about Phi Beta Sigma. At one point in time, me and the homies used to talk about joining another fraternity. But, you know, again, I had to kind of get a grip on myself and think about what was good for me. So that's why I went with Phi Beta Sigma.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'd have to agree. I think what you said was great advice for any 18-year-old entering college. You know, college is a big step from high school, and I feel once we met and we did that summer bridge program, you know, that helped us out a lot. And I'd have to agree. I think for me, I definitely would tell my, you know, the younger self to live at your own pace. I definitely would say that. I would also say, you know, believe in what you have. You know what I mean? Like, everybody on this earth is very special, very unique. And, you know, sometimes you may be the only person that believes what you have. I remember telling you about the biz, you know, years ago, and then, you know, we were able to bring you in along with, you know, Darnell Hood, and it was one of those things where, you know, I believed in the biz, you know, from the get-go, you know, but we had people thinking that we were still like a clique and, you know, we were on some high school stuff. But for me, I always knew the friendship and the bond that we shared. And for me, it was like, no, we're a group of friends. And yes, you know, we get along, we're boys. But at the same time, it's bigger than that. So I feel people did not realize that until maybe a few years after that, when we started, you know, doing monologues on campus, you know, at a sold out Martin Luther King symposium, you know what I mean? When we did shows, you know, on campus where people, you know what I mean? Like, when they saw that, us flip it, you know, we're not dancing anymore, we're not stepping anymore, we're, you know, taking it to that next level. That was the type of stuff I always knew that was in us anyway. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting to kind of go back and reminisce on the type of things we were into when we were at that age, and to see the relationship and the friendship still be there because of those strong foundational elements that we had even back then.
Right.
So no, that's cool. So I know another part that we share is family. You're a big family guy. I'm a big family guy. Shout out to all the Odens, Mama Oden. I know it's been a while since I've seen you. But my next question goes into family, and I want to talk about your brother, one of your brothers, Rod. A lot of people who may not know, Rod is a high school football coach, and he's just not your normal high school football coach. He's had a lot to do with many of the University of Michigan, and not just even University of Michigan, just football programs nationwide. Your brother's one of the best coaches, definitely in Michigan, but I think in the country. So I just kind of want to ask you, how do you feel about his rise? Like, you were there, you've been a part of it since Crockett, which is now another school. You know what I mean? How was that transition process, seeing your brother basically be, you know, an unknown coach to now one of the best coaches in the country?
Just watching his growth, it's like it's a good thing, because it really shows that you can do anything once you really put your mind to it. You put some hard work into it. You can really push forward and accomplish whatever aspirations you have. It's also been a surreal journey, or journey in a sense of me just sitting back and watching him go through his journey. It's been a surreal experience because I remember one year when they won the city championship, the city of Detroit championship, and we were at a stoplight, and some guy pulled up on the side of us, and he recognized who my brother was, and he hopped out his car and he wanted to shake his hand and give him all types of congratulations and everything, and that was a surreal moment. And I remember the light changing and traffic wanting to move forward, and the guy was like cussing people out because they like, you know who this man is? Like, he was upset because the guy was upset because he felt that he was in the right for paying homage to this coach who's making a difference in the city. So that was a surreal moment. But it's also been some scary moments where they might lose the game and, fans may be upset because of the play calling or whatever, because he's also not only the head coach, but he's the offensive coordinator. So he's hardcore in the headsets, calling the plays, signal calling, all of that. So it's been excellent watching his journey and his growth. I like to say, there's one thing I like to say, which is his growth, or growth in general, is always in beta, meaning that it's always in a phase where it's being worked on. So even to this day, with him having, 10, 15, 20, 40, 50 guys, I lost count at this point, playing Division I ball, a couple guys going on to the NFL, first round draft picks. Even with having all of that success, he's still growing. He's still in beta. So to this day sit back and watch him, it's one of those experiences that's great, but it's also surreal. And then there's also moments where people can be a little too involved, and it's a little scary at times. So.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I've met Rod multiple times. I know he's a good brother. I'm glad to see what he's been able to do, not just for himself and his family, but like you said, the city of Detroit. I'm from Saginaw, which is basically a small version of Detroit, but I definitely always want to see the city do well, and I know that he's doing a hell of a job there. And like you said, it's just not University of Michigan or Michigan State. Like he has players everywhere, and now they're becoming men. They are going to the league and being able to provide for their families, man. So, I'm in Vegas, but I've been rooting for him, man, all the way out here. And I hope that he continues to keep shining, man.
I appreciate that, man. And I know that I touched on all of the, I guess, the aspects of it when it comes to, the gridiron and football. But I do want to say that, as you already mentioned, he's changing lives. We have this thing called the Oden Group, or the Oden Foundation. It stands for Overcoming Difficult Environments and Negativity. And that's what he really focuses on. And that's where his passion really sits and kind of grows from that. He does it for the love of the game. He does it out of passion. He does it out of the energy of wanting to see these kids grow and go from boys to men and be productive citizens. Get a college education, even if it's through ball or maybe not through ball, but they're able to go on, lead the city, get on a college campus, and function because they came up under the principles of Coach Rod Oden, and that's really what it's all about.
Oh yeah, at the end of the day, man, it's about educating and, like you said, impacting lives. And I'm glad to see him involved in that, and I know that education is definitely something that you hold on to, being an educator, an entrepreneur. And I wanted to kind of change subjects and go from playing ball to another thing that you have your hands into in terms of the music industry. I know that you manage a hip-hop artist, Ilya, just as I manage an artist, JNS, who is my younger sister. But what I wanted to talk about to you is, nowadays you're around kids all the time, and everybody wants to be a rapper. You know what I mean? We just had Straight Outta Compton just come out a couple of weeks ago. Make over $60 million first week. So, we grew up in that hip-hop era, in that generation. So we get it. We understand what rap music did, not only in our lives, but for the world. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people kind of look at rap and say, well, it's just the young kids. What people don't understand is that these young kids are now growing up. You know, these young kids is like Barack Obama. He grew up in there. You know what I mean? Now he's running the free world. So it's one of those things where I'd like for you to touch on the point of, we get why people want to be a rapper and, you know, the things you can do. But can you touch on the educational aspect of what goes on within that music industry and what these kids should probably also think about?
Yeah, being a manager of an artist that's in the industry, or at that point of really crossing over to the mainstream part of the industry, I think that one of the things that's really key for kids nowadays who want to jump into the music industry, one thing that they need to understand is that you have to grow. You have to be willing to be patient, and you have to be willing to hone in on your skills. Do not take your craft for granted. Don't be so selfish and so in a rush to where you cut yourself short. And with me managing our artists, we had to learn that along the way through our journey, because when I first took Ilya under my wing, we wanted it right then and there. You know, we wanted, you know, Rock Nation to call right now. We wanted, you know, the next music executive to give us a shot right now. And when that shot never came, and then the next day it never came, and the next month it never came, and the next year it never came, we realized, oh, okay, well, in the process of waiting, let's be getting better. You know, the beat selection, the lyrics, your enunciation, your articulation, your vocabulary. You know, you got to really work on your craft. And then I'm not going to say once you work on your craft, because it's never really done. Again, that phrase is, you're always in beta. So, but as you're working on your craft and as you're getting better, people will tell you if it's worth their time or not. People become more receptive to your music if you're true to your music and if you're really growing within your music. And then at some point in time, when you put it into the hands of a music executive, you just might get an opportunity because they can see that you took time to grow yourself. So from an educational standpoint, that's one of the key things that I would tell to an upcoming artist or someone who wants to get in the music industry, is that take time to grow.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's very important and essential to, you know, having some type of success. I won't say success means getting a record deal, you know, having a platinum, you know, album, or, you know, making the Billboard's charts. It's like you said, if you want to continue to get better and continue to work on your craft, all of those things you talk about have to take place. You know, they have to take place. Yeah, you might skip over a few steps here and there, but at the same time, you know, it's all about, you know, knowing who you are, knowing yourself, you know, wanting to get better and respecting the craft. You know, I think a lot of people think, you know, let me just hop on the mic, spit a couple, you know, bars, and then I'm good. It's not that easy. And I know both of us being managers within that type of industry know that it takes more time, it takes more hard work, it takes dedication, and it takes foundation, it takes a lot of things. So I'm glad that you were able to, you know, share, you know, some insight into what happens and how it happens, because I think a lot of kids these days thinks that it's, you know, as easy as 1, 2, 3, and it's just not that way.
Yeah, and then they hear of artists like Fetty Wap who will tell you blatantly in the interview, I've been doing it 2 years, you know, and then I got on. Yeah. Well, you know, that might be his journey, you know, and then that's a conversation between, you know, him and God. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that God had in place for him. So he's the exception to the rule, because God had that journey already crafted out for him. Yep. But that's not everybody.
Oh, no, it's not the majority. Right now we both know, you know, Fetty is, everybody loves Fetty. But like you said, you know, he is the exception to the rule. And, you know, for most people, it goes the other way. So, yeah, I know that we're running short on time, but I definitely want to ask you a few other questions. So for these next few questions, they're going to be quick hitters. I'll ask you the question. You can kind of give me, you know, 1 to 2 sentence max answer. and then we'll let you get on with your day. So yes, the next question: whenever you're ready to start a family and you have kids, are you going to let your boys play football?
Absolutely.
Okay. What about, playing devil's advocate, what about the concussions thing? Everybody, that's a hot topic right now. A lot of people, even some of my friends, said there's no way that they're going to let their young boys play football based on all the information that's out there on concussions. Does that scare you?
Not at all. Thank God, technology is one of those things that's constantly growing. Again, that statement is always in beta. So by the time by the time I have kids and then they're old enough to play Pee Wee football or whatever, and you can see it now when you look at NFL on the TV. They have these new helmets with this special little part in it now to like really reduce the impact of a hit or whatnot. So by the time I have kids and they're old enough to play Pee Wee, hopefully the technology and equipment will be advanced enough to where things such as concussions are less of a worry.
Okay. Switching to sports, our alma mater, University of Michigan, they were with Adidas for a while, and this year marks the last year for them having the Adidas contract. Thank God. So they signed a Nike contract, but then a few days after that, we got whiff from Michael Jordan. MJ, the GOAT himself, said, "We're coming over to Jumpman." How do you feel about that?
It's cool. But you know me, I've never really been the trendy type. I really don't care. I just want to see wins over losses.
I agree. I'm with you. I want to see results. All that I hope for is that we have Maze. Bring back Maze. That yellow highlighter neon stuff we got now, I'm off that. Just long as Jumpman brings Maze back, the old Maze that we know and grew up on, I'm good. Okay, 3 other questions, real quick. Music question: what's your favorite Jay-Z album?
Blueprint 2.
Interesting. Love Blueprint 2. It probably should have been only one disc. I mean, it had the double disc, which was fine, but some of my favorite Jay-Z cuts are on Blueprint 2. Me, myself, I'd probably have to go with the Blueprint.
Okay.
Favorite Biz moment? When we were roommates. So me, you, and Mark, and we got to keep it G-rated, out there for everyone. But we had a lot of great moments. But anything, one particular quick hidden story, like I said, just one sentence of favorite moments, man, of us back on the yard of U of
M. Lake Village Apartments, 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom condo, the parties. That was so crazy. We'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
And remember when we got ready to move out, right? After being there 2 years, it had the grind stains from people dancing at the parties, still on the wall. So it's like people's gene marks was on the wall. So yeah, those parties was epic. We had the football team coming through, all of the who's who's. Yeah. I mean, we ran it. It was nice.
Yeah, good story. I like that. And last but not least, last question. Our boy, Kanye West, Kanye Tudda, just announced at the MTV VMAs, after getting the Vanguard Award, that in 2020, which is the next term, that he's going to run for the president of the United States. So my question to you, would you vote for our man Yeezus if he does make the ballot and he's serious about running for president in 2020?
You know we're fans of Kanye. You know we love Kanye. He inspired one of our very first shirts when we was walking around with We Major, on and whatnot. But you gotta love him for being silly. But I don't think he was serious. And if he was, I can't vote for him because I'm not sure if he can run a country.
Yeah.
He might be too emotional.
I think he is. Now, I don't know if he was serious or not. I know Ye says a lot of crazy stuff now. I know people miss the old Kanye, which I think all of us missed a little bit of that person we fell in love with back in the day. But I will say this. I agree. don't know if he's the right man to run the country. I think if we lived in another times, maybe like back in the day, and I'm talking maybe, civil rights movement, I think Kanye could have been right there. I think he, like you said, the passion, the emotion, he could have been a leader. I'm not calling him Dr. King or Malcolm, but what I'm saying is he has that type of passion, that type of voice that I think if given in the right platform, in the right message, he could deliver something powerful that everybody can get behind. 2020, I don't know. Maybe 1964, Kanye might have been smooth, but I think I agree. I definitely have to listen to his platform. I'm not the biggest person when it comes to politics, but I just couldn't vote for Kanye just because he, has so many classics and he's one of my top 5 rappers of all time.
Nah. Yeah, people lives in his hand. We gotta think above that.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Okay. So once again, man, I really want to thank Rob Oden, Black Rob, for holding it down here at the Worth the Wait Guy podcast. For those who aren't familiar with our social media, please hit us up at Worth the Wait Guy. That's for Facebook. That's for Twitter. That's for Instagram. And if you want to check this full interview out, go to www.worththewaitguy.com. That's my personal website where I share my story on being the 30-year-old virgin living here in Las Vegas, and I also give you these interviews and updates on what's coming up next for me. So once again, I'd like to thank Rob. I'd like to tell everybody, stay safe, God bless, and always live at your own pace. Until next time, peace.
I'm higher than most.